Hey, everybody, what's up? Thanks for joining us on a very special episode of the Nerdpocalypse podcast. I am your host, Jack. I am here with Jay.
Hey, what's up?
And TNP crew member Demetrius, making his very first appearance.
Good evening.
We are here today for a very special reason. We have with us someone who was a hero and a role model to kids and adults all over the world when he was the original Black Ranger for the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. He's been an iconic actor for 30 years in TV and movies, world champion salsa dancer, and my vote for real life most interesting man in the world, Walter Jones.
Hey, what's up, guys?
How are you, sir?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good. Got the two J's in the house. What's going on, man?
Thanks for joining us, man. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, glad to be here.
So, obviously, most people know you as the Black Ranger from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and it's clear that... Say again?
Who did you say? The who?
The Black Ranger from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Where is that show? What is that? I've never heard of that. What is that?
Well, it's a show.
Small show.
That everybody in this room...
Hit show.
Everybody in this room loved for a really, really long time. A long time.
Okay. All right. It sounds good. I think, I'm acquainted to that. Yeah. All right. Sounds good.
Little show. Awesome.
Little show.
Before we get into some of that, though, I know you've been asked it more than once, but can you just give us a little bit on your background and where you came from and sort of how you got there?
Okay. So born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. Grew up there and always kind of had an interest in acting, from like being in the church and being like, one of the wise men to, doing shows in the drama club at school. Also, like, acting, dancing, singing, all kind of my thing. I mean, Detroit's one of those cities where, my family came from Motown and, they were always singing doo-wop songs. And, that was like something we did together. And then dancing with a pop locking and breaking and so forth and so on. So I grew up with a lot of skills. I acquired a lot of skills. And I went to San Diego, went to college. Got a 4-year degree in musical theater and graduated from there, traveled the world for a while on cruise ships, and then got off and said, let me see what I can do in LA. And got an agent, started working around the town, and all of a sudden this audition comes up for this little show called the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So actually, the name was different then. I think it was called Phantoms at the time.
Was it Dino Rangers or Phantoms?
It was Dino Rangers. It had a few different names. But
right.
I think it was Phantoms for a minute, and then it was Dino Rangers, and then we ended up with the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Of course, I didn't know what Morphin was.
Right. I think you guys kind of coined that term. Not a lot of people knew before.
Yeah. I was like, well, what's Morphin? We're the Mighty Morphin. What is that? It was like, okay, metamorphosis. Oh, okay, kind of along that lines.
It's funny. Before you even got there, a lot of people might not know this, but I think Power Rangers started in '93, and in '92, you were in both White Men Can't Jump and Malcolm X.
Well, actually, that is something that is online. That's not necessarily true.
Ooh. Uh-oh. Interesting. We're cleaning up your Wikipedia page for you.
Exactly. See, things about Wikipedia. People post things on Wikipedia that the actual people don't post. So
I think that's on your IMDb page. So we gotta go to a higher level. Yell at them.
Really?
Yeah.
It's on IMDb. Well, it's not something that I put there. I wish I had been in both those movies. Both of them were movies I respected considerably. Power Rangers was actually my first television appearance. I'd done some extra work and I'd done a small film, but it was my first my first segue into actual professional television or film.
Awesome. Your background in martial arts obviously started before all of that. When did you first start training?
Like I said, I grew up in Detroit. So
right.
I was always a small kid and, going to high school, a lot of kids were tough and there was a lot of violence in the community. And so my mom decided to put me in a martial arts class so I could defend myself. Mm-hmm. And my cousin was also a martial artist, and I looked up to him. So I got involved in taking martial arts, Ishinru karate, and I went on to become the Michigan State Pee Wee champion.
Really?
So, yeah, I was proud. I was like, I got trophies, man.
Yeah, it's funny. You studied Hapkido as well, and your Isshin Ryu is a very like kata heavy Japanese
Very much
style,
so.
and
Yeah,
and
which was
then
cool because it gave me this image of this hard stance and
hmm
punches, and
hmm
and then learning the kata and then having your martial arts instructor describe what you're doing when you're doing it was really interesting. Like, and this is a block, and now you're ripping out a rib. Like,
right. Yeah,
okay, all right.
it
So I
definitely.
walked around in the world going, "Hey, I can rip out your ribs, man. Just be cool. Just relax."
It's your style, as it got onto film was obviously a lot more influenced by Hapkido and other stuff.
Yeah, actually, I studied Hapkido after I left the Rangers. I mean, I've done a little
Oh,
bit.
really?
I've done Ishiru is what I came to the Rangers with,
Hmm.
and then I achieved a brown belt, and then when I was working on the show, we were working. The stunt guys were so amazing, and our stunt coordinator, I learned a lot from them, and
Right.
I was kind of a sponge. So I would have guys from Taekwondo go, "Let me show you this kick," and I've been working on this kick for a year, and they would do it, and I say, "Do it again." They do it again, and then I do it, and they'd be like, "I hate you."
That's
I hate you, man. I've been working out for 2 years. You just gonna do it? Like skills. So I was a sponge, and with a dancer's background, I can see things visibly and physically. I can pick them up. So I learned a lot of different things, everything from capoeira to jujitsu to judo to taekwondo and various other forms, Thai boxing and so forth.
mhm. It's amazing how good those guys can make anybody look regardless of your background. That
Oh yeah, well, I mean, it was me. I did my work. I mean, I
right.
did the work, but yeah, and fighting with the stunt guys, um, they played it well. They made it look like I hurt them, but I didn't. And but they did teach me. They improved my skills. And so after I left the show, I didn't have a black belt, and I thought I want to
Mhm.
have a black belt. So I started studying Hapkido,
Oh, awesome.
and although my form of martial arts on the show was hip hop keto, right? But that was like something I had to make up. That wasn't something that I actually studied. Right? It was like, how do you develop a martial arts where a guy dances and fights and
Right.
flips all at the same time? So I had to kind of figure out how to make that work, and I guess I did.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that they left all that responsibility up to you. You were responsible
Yes.
to defining the style and choreographing your scenes, and it was all you.
Yeah, I mean, it's nobody else could do it. I mean, like the audition process was one where they said, "So can you dance? All right, here's some music. Show me what you got." And I did a little something, and they said, "Okay, that's great. Now, can you do any martial arts? All right, show us like a kata," and I did a kata. Okay, that's good. Now, can you do any flips? This room's not very big, but can you show us anything? And I did a back tuck. I did a back tuck, landed it, and they're like, "Okay, that's great. Now, can you put it all together?" And I was like, "Whoa." All right. Okay. So I guess and I had to kind of come up with something on the fly, and apparently they liked what I had. So after another period of auditions, I was able to define it better and make it make sense. I'm not just dancing; I'm
Hmm.
actually evading. I'm actually, with like Jackie Chan type style stuff.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
Jackie Chan would use props. I would use dance ability. So like you throw a punch, and I'm gonna duck out of the way. It's like, and then I'm gonna say, "Look over here," and I'm gonna come back and hit you with a back punch. So that kind of thing.
I remember that.
It's yeah. It's
As you described it, I remember seeing it as just damn near 9-year-old. Man, okay, I'm sorry.
you don't. It's funny, you guys. The show's different for the first 25 episodes. It's almost like a standard kind of kids show with morals and lessons, and there's not a lot of out of the suit, American filmed fighting for the first 25 episodes. But then episode 25, when they introduce Jason David Frank, that's when you have your famous teach the kids in the park hip hop kido moment where you finally get to show some of your kata and scenes and stuff. And the martial arts of the show really took off from that episode.
Well, actually, I kind of disagree with you.
Ooh.
I mean, the show, the first 15 minutes was us as teenagers. And the way the show always worked is we would have to fight the putties, which would elevate us into the Rangers, which would elevate us into the Zords, which would elevate us into the Megazord, and then we win. So that was the way it worked. So we pretty much did like at least some small fights every episode. And there were episodes where different people were highlighted. There were episodes where David would have to show off his gymnastic skills, or I would have to show off like dancing for Angela in the juice bar or something. And yeah, when Jason Frank came, then I guess it did elevate everything because he was a ranger and a new threat. So I remember when he stepped into when he came to the set, and he was working on the scene. He had to do some martial arts. He started doing some flying kicks, and I think we all kind of looked at each other and said, "We got to step up our game a little bit. Guys gonna be flying around. We got to be able to do it." So I was like, it definitely improved what we did because we all felt a necessity to step it up.
Right.
So.
Well, you were kind of the big brother to Austin as well as kind of everybody else, from what I understand. You were certainly the most experienced actor.
So I mean, I was the oldest one on the set, and yeah, Austin was brand new. Austin was a newbie. Austin had not done any acting. He didn't graduate high school. He was coming straight out of like his senior year to do the show, and didn't know much about a lot. But he was charismatic and he was skilled, and
he did the show.
Yeah, I took him under my wing, and he became one of my roommates.
He did the audition on a dare, from what I heard.
That's what he says. Yeah. Wow. So
crazy.
He did the audition on there, and I recall doing the audition, reading the sides, and him having an uncomfortable time with the script because that wasn't something he really did. And I recall at one point us going, running the scene in front of the producers, and he missed his line. And so I said something that would make him think of the next line, right? Nice. I kind of said his line in order to get him to the next line, said his line and my line to get him to the next line, where he jumped right in. And it was like nobody ever knew unless you were reading the script.
It's taking care of him.
Yeah, that's what's up.
My boy.
A lot of people might not know you guys lived together during the filming of the first season.
That's very true.
And I don't know if you want to talk about it, but it sort of became known as a party house. It kind of got a reputation for
the fun place to be. A party house.
Look at his face. Look at his face.
It was kind of like we were just surrounded by lots of really talented people. I lived in a house with a number of boys. There's like 5 of us in one big house on a hill with a view overlooking like downtown, and we had a trampoline, 11-foot boa constrictor, a pool table, a dartboard, and it was just like the place to be. Right. So I could come home from work, like, after being on the set all day, and there'd be a party at my house. And I walk into a party like, oh, one of the guys decided to have a party, and so now the party's here, and I guess I'm not going to sleep early. But it was fun. We had a good time. We actually had just a lot of talented people, everybody from like people that went on to be dancers with Janet Jackson, and choreographers, and amazing singers and rappers and actors. Everybody around us was like, we had just a great group of talented people. And one of our favorite things to do was to go out to the what do you call it? The indoor volleyball. We call it volleyball. Indoor volleyball court, and we play volleyball, which is where you play volleyball, but you play off the walls. So you can imagine the Power Rangers playing volleyball. Like, we're running up and spiking the ball off the wall, right? And like just like growling, doing backflips after we did it. It was this exciting thing. We had so much fun.
Now, do you, Walter? Do you stay in touch with any of the folks from the original show?
We travel a lot together. Actually, probably more so David, Austin, and myself, and Karen Ashley, who I didn't know, but I've grown to know over the years. We're in contact a lot because we see each other a lot doing conventions. I also see Amy Jo every now and then. I don't talk to her that often, but I know she lives in Canada. She's got family, and she's doing her thing. I'm very proud of her because she's done very well for herself. And Jason Frank also is doing his own thing, and he lives in a different place. So I think the thing is David and I still live in LA. Austin used to live with me, so we have this brothership, and we left the show at the same time. and then everybody else is just kind of spread out. Of course, Twee's not with us anymore, which is
Right.
hard. We miss her, and especially now at this point in our lives because all the kids grew up,
Right.
and and the kids grew up and they got kids of their own, and we're still loved. We're still beloved. We've become iconic, and she was a great representative of the dynamic of the show.
Mm-hmm.
So she's very missed, and we wish she was here.
That's awesome. She, I've spent a lot of time over the last couple of days watching a lot of the original episodes, and she was really incredible in every scene that she was in. So it's nice to hear you say that.
Yeah, she wasn't the original Yellow Ranger.
That's right. It was somebody
It was
Dubois.
Audrey Dubois.
Dubois.
Yeah.
Audrey Dubois, who was like a Latin firecracker. She was short-haired, mean with her fists, amazing martial artist,
Right.
and tough. Had a real tomboy vibe,
Mm-hmm.
and was tough. And her as a ranger, it all worked, but she got fired because she asked for more money
Right.
before we shot after we shot the pilot. So they released her and they hired Twee, and what she brought was this soft, kind Zen type thing, which I think actually worked better because with the other energy we were almost bully like, but with Twee it was
That's a good point.
this refreshing kind of Zen, find the heart of everything. It was awesome.
Yeah, she kind of brought you guys a softer side.
Man,
Yeah, absolutely.
it's something
Yeah.
I really, really like to see that.
Yeah,
That alternative universe of the Rangers. But I think we saw that in that fan film that came out.
There's also,
fan trailer.
I think you and Austin did some time with someone where you talked about and showed a screening of the Lost Pilot. Is that correct?
We did. Actually, we did. Saban had us come back and asked us if we wanted to host an episode, which we were able to do, or I was able to do, because as soon as I left the show, I joined SAG, and I haven't been able to go back to the show because of those reasons, because
Right.
it's still a non-union show, unfortunately.
It's still a non-union show?
25 years. They vetted. It was union 1 year, and then
That's probably
they moved it to New Zealand. So now it's in New Zealand. It's still a non-union show, and I've been invited to go a couple of times, but it's non-union, and it hasn't been beneficial for me to break the union to go and be part of it as much as I would like to, which is upsetting because now they have to film this union and I'm not in it. What's up with that?
Right.
I'm like, come on, man, y'all finally did something union, did something big, and this is an opportunity for all our fans to embrace us once again, and we're not even. It's
They didn't ask you guys to cameo? I was going to ask you
I
that.
don't know. I gotta look at this.
It would make sense, right? To do at least a cameo. I mean,
Right.
they could have been running by a juice bar, and we could have been sitting in there like this. Anything, right?
Yeah.
I mean, or whatever. I mean, I don't know.
That's
I
crazy.
think it would have made sense for them to put us in the film, at least as a homage for the fans that have supported the show for so long. But yeah, not to say that I'm not excited about the movie, because I am.
Right.
It does bring the the Power Rangers to a whole new generation, which is exciting, and in a different way, in a new and improved way, meaning with better effects and so forth. Although I've seen the trailer and I'm excited about it, I'm looking forward to seeing it. But I like our look better. I just like I like I like what we did. But of course I do. We started.
Right, you're supposed to.
I'll say two things about it. The outfits that you wore were the first season Mighty Morphin Power Rangers outfits are iconic and they'll never be topped.
Right.
Second thing is you guys were martial artists, and those kids, as much as they look like they're great actors, they're not martial artists. And that's going to make a difference.
It does make a difference. I mean, yeah. There's been a lot of talented people on the show in the 25 years of the running of the show. There's a lot of talented people that come, and I've come to get to know some of them, and some of them are very physically talented, which is exciting about the order, because now I finally get to work with some of these guys that also were really physically talented and great martial artists, and I get to see them and I go, all right, I see your skills, I see what you're doing, and it's exciting. So
what's it like to be reunited with everybody, David and Austin and Johnny Young Bosch and everybody? What's it like?
It's cool, man. It's like, I mean, I didn't know Johnny, I didn't know Karen, and I didn't know Steve, and I didn't really care to know them so much at the time. Because I loved the show.
Not at that time.
But at the time. But I mean, I think they even came to a party at my house one time shortly after the film, and they were greeted with open arms. And like there was no hatred. It was like there was no grief to give them because in the end they had to replace us with someone. I mean, we walked off the show trying to make it a union movie. Right. That's why we left. We were trying to negotiate for better contracts because the contracts were, pretty ridiculous for the show to be making $1 billion in a year. $1 billion. I just said billion. Wow. In a year. And then, the movie was like, okay, we're just going to give you this chump change. And it was like, well, come on, man. So
do you guys like free pizza?
We tried to make it better. We actually did make it better for the 3 that stayed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And we made it much better for them. But, and then Karen and Steve and Johnny got to walk into, shoes that we already created. And they got to do the footprints on Hollywood Boulevard, which made me really mad. I was like, wait, that's supposed to be my footprint,
People don't know, you guys, the first season was 60 episodes. It was a non-union show, which please speak to more of the difference between union and non-union, but that's a ridiculous amount of work to be doing on a non-union experience.
We were on every day, Monday through Friday. So we did 40 episodes a season, and we did 4 episodes every 2 weeks.
4 episodes
and we were putting in it was non-union, so they could work us. So we were doing sometimes 16, 17-hour days.
And you guys were making just minimum, right?
Yeah.
$600 every week or something?
Something like that, yeah.
Wow. And people don't realize you get no residuals.
Sorry, what's that?
You get no residuals. You don't get any of the merchandising or anything.
No merchandising, no residuals. I mean, right now, Boom Comics is exploding with the Power Rangers comic, and it's really good. It's exciting to see, but it's a little hurtful that I don't, 25 years later,
right?
They're making money, and I don't get anything off my image. But that's just what it was. I mean, what I am grateful for is the world of fans that I have, the opportunities I have to go and meet them with these conventions and so forth, and the celebrity that I've gained from that particular thing it's interesting. I've done a lot of work, a lot of different things. Everything from NYPD Blue to The Shield, which won a Golden Globe, and Moesha. I've done Parenthood and some of the top sitcoms and some of the top drama shows, CSI, and various other shows. But I think unless I become one of the new Marvel heroes, I'm always going to be known as the Power Ranger first and foremost, because that's the merchandise that's out about me. It's the comic books, it's the pogs, it's the pajamas, it's the video game that's coming out. It's those are the images of me. And there's nothing that I can think of that's going to top that, regardless of what caliber of acting it might be or how big the budget is in the film. If it's just a film, it's still not iconic.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, we have a fan group on Facebook, and we asked a lot of our fans, what they wanted to ask you, and everybody really just wanted to say, man, that you're up there with Lando Calrissian and some of the other, sci-fi fantasy heroes that are out there. You were a role model for a lot of young kids, for a lot of people.
Especially black kids.
Especially. Let me jump in here and just say that I am a red belt in Hapkido because of you. There was, by the time I was 10 until I got to 14, it was nothing but martial arts and Power Rangers. And, knowing that it was you and the opportunity right now to speak to you, it's kind of mind blowing. It's always going to be mind blowing, but I understand that it's a sore spot within you. But dude, it's you. I mean,
hey, I'm not mad. Don't get me wrong. I don't walk around in the world going, "Hey, don't call me a Power Ranger." I'm like, I'll be walking down the street and somebody goes, "Zach," I always turn my head. I'm like, "Zach, oh, you must be talking to me." I'm just used to it. I'm like, my name is Walter, but if you call me Zach if you have to. I take my kids to go eat every Tuesday at a restaurant. And whenever I walk in, they go, "Hey, Zach." They don't say hi, Walter. They remember me as Zach, and that's who I am. And I can say, my name is really Walter Jones. And they'll be like, yeah, okay, Zach. Yeah, it's like, that's who I am, So I don't have a problem for it because it's all love. I mean, it's interesting. I've been around the world in different places, and often people will see me and not be exactly sure where they know me from. But what they always know is they like me. They're like, I know you from somewhere. Wait, did you go to my high school? No, okay. Do we date? No. Like, you're trying to figure it out, And then I go Power Ranger. Like, oh! Like, it escalates to this thing. They're like jumping off the wall. Dude, where are you? This is him right here. And it's crazy. It's like to be able to give the gift of that kind of energy to anybody in the world simply by being kind or being personable is an amazing gift.
It really is, and I'm glad to hear that you embrace it so much. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You were actually the first of the cast who left to come back to the show as a voice actor. What was that like? Did they invite you back, or how did that come about?
Yeah, it was it's a non-union show, right? So I couldn't come back to do a non-union show because I was working union now. I'm a big boy, right? So, but the show was the show I created, and it was successful, and I still wanted to be part of it. And I got a call from Scott Page, who said, "Hey man, listen, I just wondered if you wanted to do any voices on the show. I know it's non-union, but you could do that because I wasn't really. It was a voice actor. I mean, it was a voice. Nobody's gonna know it was me because it was a different voice. I wasn't. It was like." You wouldn't know it was me unless you saw it. It wasn't supposed to be credited, although apparently people found out, and it's talked about regularly now. But
I'm glad I'm not the first one to bring it up. I feel like it's such a joke.
But at the time, it was like it was kind of like just to be part of it still. Just hey, you want to do it? I'm like, yeah. I mean, we're cool. I'll go in. I'll do a voice. I got all kinds of characters, so I was like, yeah, let me create something and just to be. Part of it again, even if I'm not on camera, I got a voice, got a voice in there. Right. So that was just a gig that they invited me to do, and I was happy to go do it.
Have you ever put the suit back on in the 20-some years?
One, they never gave me the suit. I wasn't given any of that stuff.
I know. I hope you took one.
Was that?
I said, I hope you stole one, man. You deserved it.
I did not. That wasn't my character. And I think if I had stayed longer after the film or whatever, it's very likely that maybe I would have. I would have been like, y'all owe this to me. I mean, just like the fact that we didn't get our toys. Just like, right. I mean, the line in Toys R Us was, you waited for 3 days to get the doll, and we weren't given the doll. So what I should have done in retrospect is that, there you go. What I should have done in retrospect is I should have taken my Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday, and when it stood in line, and it would have been big press. They would have talked about it forever, and I bet I would have got toys from that point on.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
I should have done it in retrospect. But no, I wasn't given the suit, and I didn't have the suit, and I wasn't trying to get a suit. It wasn't like, I need one of those.
Right.
But I have been given suits over the last 5 or 6 years. I got like maybe 3 in my closet.
Nice.
Some new ones, some old ones. They don't always fit the right way. I don't have the boots. I don't have it completed. Oh. I envision that at some point I will put it back on and do something for the fans, or at least take pictures with it and utilize those pictures for the cons. But I have yet to do that. Done a full suit.
That's where you guys are getting your revenge, though, is on the con scene, because that's where it's at.
Well, I'll put it like this. After I left the show, I went and did an appearance at a car show for the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I walked away from that show with $30,000, which is more than I made an entire year on the show.
Damn, Jesus.
In a weekend. So that told me my worth. It was like, really? Wow. So I just made $30,000 in 3 days, shaking hands, signing autographs, taking pictures. And I've been dishing out blood, sweat, and tears and doing 17-hour days on the show. And they made $1 billion. Yeah, I did the right thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no
I
kidding.
did the right thing in trying to make this union because we were really being taken advantage of.
Right.
So at that point, I was able to say to, we were able to say to the rest of the cast, guys, come on. I just made $30,000 over the weekend, and because of who we are, and yet they want us to do a movie that's, they're not even going to pay us that. So
That's crazy.
come on,
Come on.
get it together. Yeah, come on. But yeah. So no, the cons have been a blessing because it is an additional form of income as well as just an opportunity to go and, when you guys were kids 20 years ago or so,
Right.
Right.
you were scared. You wait in line for 6 hours with your mom outside. The line went out the building, around the block, and you finally got up to me and you were hiding behind her leg like this. Like, I'm not going to look at him. I was too scared. And your mother would have a fit. She'd be so livid. I mean, I think some kids got beat up. I'm just saying. They're like, I waited in line for 6 hours. You're not even going to look at him now? I was like, and I would have to be like, hey, it's okay. Like, this is the way it affects kids. Sometimes it's just too much for them. And parents would be like, wait till we get home. like, wow. So now you guys are adults. And the difference is you don't hide behind your mother's leg anymore. Your kids are hiding behind your leg, but you're still kind of standing there like, and I'm talking to the kids and I look up and I realize you're an actual real fan. Like, hey, you watched the show? And they're like, man, I watched it every day. You were me. I was you, and I'm like, wow, it's amazing. It's amazing. And to have 3 generations, because, at the cons, I might run into, a grandfather who used to sit down and watch Power Rangers with his son, who's now bringing his son to the convention.
Very cool.
So I got 3 generations of like Power Rangers lovers and fans of the character I created, which is amazing.
Yeah,
it's
man.
amazing. Yeah.
How do your kids respond to it all?
They don't care. I mean, it's like this. They appreciate it. My son's also an actor or has done quite a bit of acting, and so he understands the difference between reality and television reality.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're not really fighting. Oh, you're not really getting shot at. Oh, you're it's made up, and in the moment you're pretending for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
So he never had any ideas that I could, whistle and my mastodon would come rolling down the street. We could jump in and go for a ride, right?
That would be awesome.
He never got into that, but he did see it. I remember one of the first times he watched it on TV. He was an infant and maybe about 2 years old, or no, younger than that. But he's watching it and it came on TV and he's looking at it. And he looked at me. And he looked at it. And he looked at me. And looked at it again. And looked at me and went, just started laughing like, how the hell did you do that, Dad? That's a good trick. I don't know how you did it. I know you're a jokester, but somehow you're on this box and you're in front of me at the same time. I don't know. There was that. And then, people ask me for autographs. At this point, my kids go, would you like me to take the picture? So they grab the camera and they'll take the picture for them. Or occasionally their friends will ask for an autograph. And, that's interesting. It's like, all right, cool. They're proud of me, but they don't watch the show.
Right.
I think David Yost came over to my house the other day and they don't know David that well, but he came over and I said, hey guys, this is my friend, David. He was one of the Power Rangers. I was like, which one was he? And they were like, the green one? And I was like, no. The red one? No. He was the blue one. He was Billy. Billy, is it Billy or Tommy? I'm like, it's not something that they really embraced, but maybe that's just because they already had me. So
yeah,
there you go.
That's true. And you've done
good way to look at it.
We love David too, and you've done a lot of good work helping to promote his clothing line, the Affirmative clothing line, because he's doing.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. I love it. Affirmative. It's all positive. You know what I'm saying? I'm a lot about positivity. People go, "How do you look so young?" I say it's cocoa butter and positivity.
Other people are thinking it's the blood of virgins.
Yeah, nah, I don't hang around with too many virgins.
That was another thing we were required to ask you from the ladies.
What is that?
The ladies in our fan group didn't have a question. They just wanted to tell you that you're really fine, and we were required to tell you.
You're not supposed to say the word fine.
I
Thank
know.
you,
I'm not
ladies in the
supposed to.
fan group. You know, I'm also single and dating. So
There you go.
And you were also a champion
Breaking
salsa
news.
dancer.
Yeah, breaking news on the show.
breaking news.
Yeah.
Tell me about what it was like being in the 2004 World Salsa Championships.
Okay, so when I was working on cruise ships, I went to Puerto Rico. I went to this club, and I was trying to learn salsa. I was doing lambada. It was like dancing lambada. That's what they were doing in Brazil. And I was like, Brazil. Coming from Brazil, I was now in Puerto Rico, and I was like, okay, I know how to partner dance because I was doing a little lambada on the ship. And then I got to Puerto Rico, went to this club, and I'm calling myself trying to dance. And this couple came in dressed in all white, beautiful couple. Woman was like voluptuous and wearing an all white dress, long hair, eyes, legs, hips, everything beautiful. Guy was like elegant. He was like had a white suit on. They got up, started dancing, tore up the floor. Everybody sat down, and I was like, I want to do that. So I saw it, was fascinated by it, left, came back to LA, and after Rangers, I found time to do other things. So I went to a club and I saw a guy dancing salsa. It reminded me of that couple, and I went, I want to do that. And he recognized me from the show and said, hey, yeah, come to my class. I'll hook you up. You can come take my class for free. So I was like, all right, bonus. So I go, and within a month, I'm teaching his beginners because I'm a good dancer. And within 2 months, we're performing together. And within a year, when he was a world champion, like a 4 or 5 time world champion himself. Within a year, I was kind of his protege. So he would be dancing with his partner, doing the routine that he was building for his competition. And he'd get tired and go, all right, you step in and do it. And so I would jump in and do his routine, including the tricks and so forth and so on. And so I learned quite a bit. And there was a year where he decided he wasn't going to compete. I think he and his partner broke up or something. He wasn't going to compete. And I said, well, maybe I should compete, you know? And he said, you should do it. So I took it upon myself to develop a routine with a partner that I already had because we were dancing together on a team, on a salsa team, this guy's salsa team. And we together came up with a really cool routine and edited some music together and done some costumes and went out and we tore up the floor.
Yeah,
so
man.
It was amazing. Yeah. The other thing that was cool about it was nobody saw it coming.
Right.
Like, nobody knew. Like the salsa community didn't know. They didn't know about me. They're like, okay, this guy, we see him dance. We see him like learning. And he's coming up. We see him in the clubs. And yeah, you know, he's a black guy. And he doesn't dance really. I mean, dances okay. And they never see me do any tricks. They know I could turn girls. I could dip them. But, you know, I wasn't from the culture. I didn't speak the language. And when I entered the competition, what I added was a level of athletic prowess. So gymnastics, I was able to do flips. I was able to do other things that I knew how to do and still dance salsa and include it in the salsa. So it was tricks that they had never seen before. And man, the competition was amazing because we just wowed them. It was like,
it was on point.
Somehow it wasn't even on purpose. We edited the music so there were like 3 mock endings. So it looked like it was like we did it. It was exciting, and the end, and the music kept going. It kept doing, and it just kept ramping up and up and up and up and up, and then we ended it on a big bang. And man, by the time we finished, everybody was just standing up and screaming. We won by 40 points over the nearest competitor.
Wow. It's not even close.
It was pretty amazing. It was an amazing experience.
Was it that led you to being in the closing ceremony of the Olympics? Was it the salsa dancing or what
that was beforehand, actually. Okay. Yeah, the 92 Olympics. So that was before Power.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. So I was in the closing ceremonies in Barcelona in the 92 Olympics. I've been working at Universal Studios and a couple of shows, the Beetlejuice Graveyard Review, the Wild West Stunt Show. I was in American Tail. I was a Dancing Mouse. Right? And I got an audition, a dance audition for this, to be in the closing ceremonies. They picked 50 Americans from around the United States to represent the coming of the coming of the Olympics to LA, or to America, to Atlanta, and I was fortunate enough to be one of the few chosen.
Very nice,
man.
Very
That's
cool.
like, again, really a leading candidate for most interesting man in the world. Like, you've been everywhere and done everything, man.
My life has been. That's the one thing that people can say about me. If for some reason I wasn't here tomorrow, the one thing that my friends and people that know me well would say is he lived, because I have done a lot of different things. I've been dog sledding. I've been bungee jumping, skydiving. I've been whitewater rafting. I've done so many different things, and I live for adventures in the now.
Yeah.
So,
Very cool.
I there's nothing hold me back. I keep living.
Yeah, man. That is awesome. And you're also a Star Trek captain. I just want to throw that in there too, in case anybody doesn't know that.
I am Captain Devin. Yeah. Unfortunately, it looks like that project is permanently on hold, which is unfortunate, because I was really excited about it, because I'm a Star Trek fan, and
We'll
I was
always
gonna
know.
have my own ship, and I was like, oh, it's on it, cracking. I'm ready. Let's go. Put me on the ship, and let me drive it. But yeah, I mean, I guess I'm gonna have to live with space cases as being my piloting effort.
Well, what about the Star Trek series that's coming on CBS? The one that's got Sonequa from
Discovery.
Walking Dead? Yeah.
There you go.
Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to talk to my agents about that.
We're starting the petition right now.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
Let them know.
Look, Black Panther just started shooting, and they could always use more black people with martial arts at Marvel. So, hey,
well,
maybe we'll start.
I think
We'll start a
going
petition.
to open up some possibilities for me to let people see that I'm still capable of doing the things that I do. So who knows?
That would be great.
See, that's the thing I wanted to ask you as well. Is it if you could have like an original project, something that is of your own, what would it be? I mean, with everything that you've already experienced and what you've already done, what would that be like? I mean, what is that? What is that vision?
I want to produce something. I want to produce something that is action driven, that incorporates dance, that incorporates this, like, I got some ideas, and I got a project in mind, and I'm looking at developing something. So maybe I'll have an answer for you on that by the end of the year, and I'll have something to show.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
That'd be very cool. Jack, you have a really weird thing that you found on the internet, and we're dying to find out if this is true.
So, Walter, I want to ask you. I kind of pride myself on my research, and I have already been found out that you were not, in fact, into the movies I was hoping to hear about. So, I'm with trepidation. I come into these questions that I have for you. But I guess the first one would be. There's a rumor that you were part of the King of Nigeria's 40th anniversary of his reign, along with some other celebrities.
Oh, shit.
You're nodding. This is true. Oh, my God. So apparently the word is that you and some other celebrities, who I'd love to know who that were invited to be part of this celebration for the 40th anniversary of the reign of the King of Nigeria, and were awarded honorary chieftaincy.
That's correct.
Wow. Please tell me that.
I'm an honorary chief. Yoruba chief, and my name is Ugomba, which means the national eagle.
Wow.
Now, how did you come upon this? Do what is your connection?
Was he a fan?
Yeah, was he a fan?
I've been to Africa a couple of times alongside my other cousin, who is a mayor, Mayor Jack Sims, and he's very proud of me, obviously, and he was hosting a delegation of Black mayors to go to Nigeria to speak and help develop things there to help make the area better. So which was really interesting, because hanging out with a bunch of mayors, like, their responsibilities on building cities and helping to develop, culture and so forth, was to hear what they had to say was really interesting. So I was sitting in all these meetings with like the vice president and Abuja, or judges and so forth and so on, all these high level officials, and we're being escorted by police escort and so forth around Nigeria. And we had gone there. We had a project with Marlon Jackson, and we were trying to develop a site in Badagry to make it a historical site, because it's where 60%, I think it's 60, or it might be 30% of all the slaves that came through the slave trade came through this particular point. And it's not a lot of people know about it. So we were trying to develop it into a historical site, and we had been given a 99-year lease, actually. But then with red tape and so forth and so on, it kind of fell through the cracks. So that was where we started going to Africa, and then we went back again. We were invited by this king, and he was celebrating his 40th year of ascension to the throne. And that time I went with Marlon and Tito Jackson, and again a number of different mayors. And man, it was pretty amazing. We hung out with the governor, we hung out with the king, we hung out and went to funerals, and we went to weddings, and we went to churches, and we went to schools, and I got to see all different sides of life in this area, and it's pretty amazing. It was an amazing experience, and I actually got to me and the king, we got on really well.
Man,
he became very fond of me. He would call me Walter, and I go, yes, Your Highness, and we would talk, and we would sit down talking. We sat down on his throne. I have a couple of pictures on my Facebook about it, where he's sitting on the throne, and I'm sitting next to him, and he's giving me the things that he would give a chief. And at one point, he gets up and he allows me to sit on his throne, and he says to me, hardly any other Nigerian will ever have an opportunity to sit on this throne, but I allow you to, because you left this country as a slave and you come back as a hero. And I was like, wow. I mean, to hear words like that as an African-American man who grew up in Detroit and has seen the things that I've seen in my life, to be able to be honored in such a way was life-changing.
You had allergies that night, didn't you?
Sorry?
So you had allergies that night, didn't you?
I had allergies?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what's in the air, man. This is crazy.
A lot of dust.
Whoa. Gotta just clear my eyes out. Anybody got some Visine?
One of the big, obviously the next big thing that you have coming up like almost immediately is The Order. And if a lot of people don't know about that, it's kind of starring an awful lot of old former Power Rangers in a really interesting action movie kind of setup. Can you talk about it just kind of briefly?
Well, I can't say too much because it remains to be seen. But what I can say is that it is we are an organization of high level. I would say kind of like high level CIA type guys. Okay. We are in the heart of dealing with the world's woes, and we are consistent in trying to maintain order. And for some reason, usually the reason is power. There becomes a rift and a division within the order, and it becomes disorder. So we fight. We end up fighting between each other, and it gets pretty intense. So
very cool. Now, when does that actually? Do you have any idea what the release date is for that?
Well, I know they're seeking to have a release by the end of the year, but I'm not sure.
Okay, and you're getting ready to start filming, is that correct?
Yeah, we're still filming. So we filmed some parts of it, and we have more filming to do. And the majority we're about to knock out in the rest of the month in February.
What we've seen of it looks like, just a fan's kind of dream movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we know what kind of release platform is going to be on? Is it going to be just like straight digital?
I'm not
or
sure.
I
I can't say for sure, and I'm not. I don't know, but
stay tuned.
Stay tuned. I know that we're looking at different possibilities. So,
okay,
who's
very cool.
Can you say not to keep harping on it, but can you say whose idea it was or kind of how it came about? Because it's really kind of fascinating that it brought all of you guys together.
You know what? It kind of started. We've all been wanting to work together, and we've all been wanting to. We see each other at these cons, and although I haven't really watched any episodes of the other Power Ranger series, not too much, I see them and I recognize them as the people that worked on the same show and are talented. And, somebody had the idea we should all do something together. And we had kind of like talked about it and, thought about it a little bit. And then David Felding, who played Zordon, he is a writer, and he and Karen Ashley got together and they wrote something and they got it produced. So
man, is that quick, huh? That's great.
So Zordon is
the idea was there.
He's still running stuff.
Yeah, Zordon is still bringing you guys back together all these years later.
Yeah, so I'm excited about it. It's awesome.
I think the one. Go ahead. Oh, I was
if nothing else, I'm sure it will be a fan. It'll be a cult film for the fans.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just the trailer is fun to rewatch. Just seeing you throw kicks again is a lot of fun.
Right. And I'm still doing, man.
Yeah,
you got it. Like, hey, I'm kicking, and punching, and throwing, and
are you?
Shooting is different. I get to shoot these days. I got a gun now. Watch out. Hold up.
But you did have a gun. You had an axe cannon.
An axe cannon.
We did, but that was like that wasn't a pow pow. That was a.
Do you keep up with UFC or MMA or Glory Kickboxing or any of like the?
I love UFC. I love MMA.
Man, me too. Wow, I wish I had another hour to sit down and just talk to you about MMA.
All right.
Do you want to see Jason David Frank versus CM Punk? How do you feel about that fight?
I'd be interested to seeing them do anything. Really, I mean, like I like Jason Frank is he's an awesome fighter. He's a very skilled person. He's got his gym, he's been running martial arts studios for 25 years. So, I mean, he's very well trained. I would like to see him take on somebody of more note, take on somebody that really is trained fighter, right? Yeah. Rather than just CM Punk, rather than just something that was novelty. I like to see him really test his skills.
Yeah.
I think that would be interesting to watch.
We talked to him earlier this year and asked him if he was planning on going to Bellator, as were some of the rumors, and he did not. He was coy about his answers, so we all just really hope that he fights again, because he's 4-0, and I can't wait to see him be 5-0. It'd be fun to watch.
What was the last time he fought?
He fought 2012, his first professional fight, and he won. He won all his fights in the first round.
He did. I know.
It's crazy.
He's kicking butt.
See, that was a test for you, Jack.
Anybody that was too. Yeah.
He fought Carlos Horn, I think. And that was the biggest fighter. But yeah, it was like 3 amateur fights.
That was the last fight?
Yeah.
Yeah. He took a little damage that fight. And it was a good fight. But that's, it's not, he's a very trained martial artist. He's a very skilled guy. But the what MMA is today is not just, training in the gym.
Right.
It's not just training other people in the gym. I mean, these people are people that devote their lives to really fighting. Yeah. That's what is so fascinating about MMA. It's like, it's not just about one form of martial arts. It's about combining everything and making your body the definition of a weapon, So, I don't know. Jiu-jitsu introduced a whole lot into the game. So it's like, if you're fighting somebody that's a Thai boxer, jiu-jitsu artist, and Krav Maga and so forth and so on, it's like, you got to train for all that. It's not something you just jump into and think I'm gonna kill it. It's like, get to train.
As a former karate guy, you've got to like seeing like Wonderboy Thompson and some of these more like traditional striking guys coming back to the forefront.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's also youth,
right?
Youth is helpful. Like when you get hurt when you're youthful, it's like you bounce back, but you get hurt when you get a bit older. It's harder. So I think to see the traditional strikers is awesome. I love to see that. I love to see people do that. But then I look at like John Bones Jones, and I'm like, man, this guy, he's got all kinds of weapons. He's got elbows and knees and throws, and you don't even know the capabilities of what he's capable of because he hasn't put everything out of the hat yet. So I think that's exciting. I find it fascinating. I would not want to get in the ring.
No.
So if Jason Bank goes back, I commend him on it. I'm like, go do it, man. And you do it because I'm not going. I'm gonna be sitting on the side. Give me some popcorn. I'm good. If I gotta handle business in the street, I'm gonna be able to do what I gotta do. But I'm not trying to just run up in the ring and be like, all right, just you and me, let's go. No pass.
That actually.
I'm a lover more than I'm a fighter these days, right?
Yeah. Speaking specifically about that, I looked through everything I could find, and you've mentioned so many times that you're a singer, but I can't find anything out there. You've got an album coming? There are aspirations? Is there some singing stuff coming?
I sang on Rangers. I sang on different other projects. I actually had a recording deal at one point, but that was a long time ago. That's crazy. And now I can sing, but it's not my strongest talent. Meaning, I've been paid to sing. I've been a lead singer in a band, but my voice has changed. I wouldn't say that I have my talent is as good as it was at some point. So I don't foresee a career in me singing coming up anytime soon. But check out my rap album, son. You know what I'm saying?
Today's the day to promote it.
I was really hoping you were going to say that. Thank you. And that kind of leads me to what we're trying to do is kind of get at least one question that we ask everybody. And the last celebrity we had join us was a gentleman who you may know by the name of Timok, who played a little character named Bruce Leroy.
Timok. Yes, sir.
And since he was the last one before you, you'll be the answer moving forward. But since he was before you, do you think you could take Timok in a fight?
Every day, all day. Come on, man.
There it is. That is the correct answer.
Get a glow. I got
it's
the glow.
It's time, son. I'm gonna see him this weekend. He'll be like, "So you want to take me, huh?" You see the shit they started? You see what they did? That's my boy, man. He's cool, he's skilled, but I'm also skilled. So I'm sure we go at it.
I'm pretty sure that you could take him, and even if you couldn't, you've got the mastodon. So
you got that.
Squish the glow.
I walk tall. I carry a big axe.
Word.
That's awesome.
Where can people find you? And is there anything you have coming up real quick that you want people to know about too?
Yeah, I got a number of different projects I've been doing. I've been doing a lot of looping voiceover work on different films and TV shows. There's a show called Dear White People, and
yes,
it's on HBO. So working on that. Been working on that recently. Got a couple of films that I'm being talked to about in the future, and working on developing a project other than the one I was talking about earlier. That's kind of a traveling show based around dancing. So a lot of good things happening. And what I want to say is, if the fans want to follow me, if you want to follow me, keep up with what I'm doing, hit me on the social media, because I got Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all at Walter E. Jones. So hit me up if you got a question, ask it, and I'll try my best to answer.
It's funny. I'm like a fan of all kinds of things. I'm a sports fan too, but this is how much of a big nerd I am. I was like, I looked you up, and I was like, who's this football player that's the first Walter Jones that comes up? Like, what? Why isn't it the Black Ranger? This is ridiculous.
I gotta get my name. I think I'm older than him too. That ain't right.
Yeah, and you're definitely more popular. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't even know what team he played for. I was like, I know sports, but I don't know this guy. Why is?
I was like, he actually, Walter Jones. He represented. He did do quite well in this field. But yeah.
I hope he wasn't like he didn't play for Detroit, because then I feel really bad about talking smack.
No, he didn't play for Detroit. Nah.
We love the Orioles and the Ravens. So, but we can be friends anyway.
Well, there you go.
Man,
right. I mean, everybody got the problems. Don't worry about it.
It's so hard to be an Orioles fan.
You can't win for losing.
Walter, thank you so much for joining us, man. It was really a pleasure having you on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was my pleasure, man. Nice talking to you guys. I hope you guys get good weather and all the best to you.
When you got some stuff coming up towards the end of the year, please come back on and talk to us about it. We'd be happy to have you.
Absolutely.
Thanks, big guy.
All right.
Take care, guys. Peace.
Right,
Thank you. Bye.
That was awesome.